Just checking in with myself, making sure I can hear myself. And once I do that, yeah. I love it. 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 Super, super excited and pumped up to connect with you guys yet once again for another Tuesday morning. I'm just going to run through some absolute logistics right now. If you just give me a quick second. Give me a super, super, super quick second. And we are going to rock and roll. We are going to rock and roll, my friends. We're going to have a great time this morning. And we're going to go from there. And we're going to start in literally a quick second. Perfection. Yes, let's go. I love it, man. Good to see you. Man, we're going to go ahead and get this thing popping, man. Thank you guys for tapping in on this marvelous Tuesday morning. And, man, just want to thank you guys for tapping in again. Hold on, just making sure all my sounds on. Man, thank you for your patience. Last time I did a live like a week ago. And, man, I went and talked for like, I did a live like a week ago, man, and went and talked for like 35 minutes and it was no sound. So I'm just making sure we are good. Yes. Let's go. All right, man, I'm going to get started literally in like 20 seconds. Get started in 20 seconds, man. And, man, we're going to turn the party up a little bit, man. That's what we're going to do this morning. All right, perfect. So I believe I'm good. I believe I am A-okay. I'm going to just go to YouTube on my actual device so I can see you guys' comments. And we're also live on Zoom as well. So for anybody that has a Zoom link, we'll be able to see both of the chats so that we can push forward and be successful and be highly successful. Okay, so man, amazing. Jerron Tyler here, Posterity.ai, founded an AI-powered business credit software that helps entrepreneurs fund themselves, understand underwriting, and ultimately get the breakthrough that they need in the banking system. And one of the reasons why we're going live every single Tuesday is to continue to bring more and more awareness to the marketplace. As you guys know, if you haven't been living under a rock or you've been living under a rock, you know that the job market is just not what it used to be. And there are a lot more people going into entrepreneurship. But with entrepreneurship, there also comes the different components of business. You have marketing, you have fulfillment, you have product, you have staff, you have projections, you have, vehicles, transportations, office space. You also have, subscriptions, digital aspects that you need regarding your business. But more importantly, you have this amazing thing called finance. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about it from a very pragmatic place, a very approachable place, if you will, to help you better understand it. For me, this is what a lot of my life has revolved around for the last 10 years, helping people get approvals, helping people make decisions. And through decision making, that's not always an easy thing to do, especially when you have to make a decision fast, whether it's buying a car, buying a house, or getting approved for the right credit products to help you grow your business. When you look at some of the most dynamic businesses in the world today, some of the most dynamic franchises and establishments, they've all used debt. In fact, I'm actually reading a book right now, a pretty incredible book that was gifted to me by my uncle, by one of my uncles. He gave me this book, and I thought, oh, wow, how much of a blessing is it for somebody to hand you a book? Not only are they transferring information, they're transferring wealth, they're transferring knowledge, they're transferring wisdom, right? So this is one of the richest things that you can have. King Solomon in Proverbs said, "In all thy getting, get understanding." I keep saying this. This has been something that has been heavily pressed upon my spirit. It's not about what you have. It's about understanding how to use what you have. And so, not to get too far off topic, but again, the whole concept of debt, being able to utilize debt, okay? And one of the things I lifted this book up, one of the points that I'm kind of referencing is, inside of the book, the writer talks about 3 different types of debt. And this is what I love, because it's all about being able to stretch your thinking and stretch your mind. My definition of wisdom, according to the Bible, is being able to have God's vantage point and God's point of view on a thing. And I believe even in this concept right here, or in this instance, having God's eye view is understanding the fullest picture that you possibly can understand. And that is the different types of debt. Okay. So you have household debt. All right. Everybody is living in some type of dwelling, whether that's an apartment, a condo, you renting a room, you bought a house, you leasing a place, you did seller financing, whatever the case may be. You have a household debt. That's your everyday expenses. You're buying cars, you're buying groceries, you're taking flights, you're renting cars, you're paying for your daughter or your son to go to prom, right? If you do not have the actual cash for that, then that will accumulate and ultimately become household debt. The next type of debt you have corporate debt. And this is what we're talking about today, being able to navigate the whole business funding space. How can I get a line of credit? How can I get a business loan? How can I get a business credit card? How can I finance my vehicle under my business? That is corporate debt. But then the main thing that a lot of times we don't pay attention to is our government debt. And it can oftentimes sound like an enigma. It can sound like, wow, like the government has debt, but you get so consumed with your debt that you think that you are the only person in debt. And so one of the reasons why, I like to talk about the different types of debt is because debt really is just an idea. And a lot of times we make it bigger than what it is. One of my keys to success that the Holy Spirit gave me, he said that in order to be successful in a realm where you may be intimidated, you may be afraid of, you may feel like you're inadequate, one of the keys is you have to minimize what most people maximize. You have to minimize what most people maximize. Most people put this big old huge premium on dollar amounts. They put this big old huge premium on debt. They put this big old huge premium on starting a business. And when I say premium, they create this proverbial burden, if you will. You know, $3 million is too much. $500,000 in debt is too much. $750,000 in debt is too much. Oh my God, what am I going to do? But if you would simply just minimize what most people maximize, then you could gain what you need in order to overcome that debt. Well, Jerron, what is it that I need to overcome the debt? I need an idea. Debt is an idea. Money is an idea. A business is an idea. Staff members, idea. Marketing, idea. Branding is an idea. There's nothing in the earth that's more powerful than an idea. You thinking that $750,000 is a lot of money is an idea, right? Somebody thinking $750 million is just a little bit of money. It's just an idea. And so all you need to overcome your debt is an idea. The way you got into the debt was an idea, right? Whether you're talking about personal debt, corporate debt, government debt, whatever the case may be. And so, man, what I want to do is I want to dive into what we're going to talk about. As I mentioned to you guys before, each and every Tuesday, we're going to come to you live and we're going to answer live questions. And so I have a slew of questions that have been sent to me. And if anybody obviously has any questions, you guys can drop it inside of the Zoom and inside of the YouTube. And man, God willing, we have time, we'll be able to touch on it. But I already have a decent amount, a solid amount of questions that I want to answer for you guys and kind of go through that. And so, man, we gonna rock and roll from there. Let's go. Come on, man. I always tell the people, look, this is what I got to do on Tuesdays. Look, on Mondays, any other days y'all see me doing it live, I'm standing up. But we still turned up. I'm sitting down. But I want to make sure that, man, as much as we are excited, you guys are also walking away with the information and expertise that you need in order to take your business and your life to the absolute next level, man. So we are going to start this. We're going to start this, my friends, in 15 seconds, man. 15 seconds, man. I'm so super excited to get rocking and rolling. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we go. We got the first thing, and I want you guys to pay close attention to this. So question came in. I have an LLC, and I've had the LLC for 27 months. However, I've never used it. I want to go for business funding. I have a few personal credit cards, but I have a few personal credit cards that are over 30%. If I were to get a debt consolidation loan for about $15,000 to pay them all under 30% utilization, will it hurt my chances of getting approved for business funding if being as though I'm opening a new account? I have no late payments and no derogatory marks. However, my personal credit score is a 640. Wow. I had to step away from the mic from that one because I didn't want to blow your eardrums. Wow. Incredible question. So, debt is all about being able to maneuver, being able to make decisions, understanding which products are most optimal for you at this time. Okay, so he has a 640 credit score, but he has credit cards that are over 30% utilization. He's asking, should I go and get a debt consolidation loan to pay these credit cards down and then go in for business funding? My answer to that is 100% yes, because what I want you guys to know is that credit card debt and actual loan debt weigh differently on your credit report. They weigh differently on your credit report. And so I actually just put out a video. I want you guys to actually go and take a look at it. It's a video that we posted last night, and I broke down the credit pie. I broke down the credit pie, talking about, your credit, your credit payment history, your utilization, your credit mix, your credit history, your age, and things like that. And so, with that being said, personal loans or any type of loan on your credit report is going to look better than having that same amount of debt on your credit report on a credit card. Let me slow down and break it down for you. If I have a $40,000 Discover loan and I have a $40,000 Navy Federal credit card that's maxed out, that maxed out credit card looks worse than a loan that I have on my credit report. Now, watch the difference in what I'm saying. The credit card started out at 0. The loan started out at $40,000. So we're looking at the same balance right now, okay? We're looking at the same exact balance, but this is actually what I want to do as well. While we're doing this, I want to see if I can pull this up on my screen to just kind of show you guys. So I got two situations right here. What's the best way I can hold it? Okay. All right. All right. So we got two situations. Let's just we got the same person. We got James. And James has a $40,000 loan from Discover. But then James also has a 0 balance on his Navy Federal card, but the limit is $40,000. Now, what I want you guys to see is this. You got two individuals. You got the same individual. However, this $40,000 Discover loan, it started out like that. Versus this Navy card, it started out at 0. So what's happening is Navy is saying, or the credit bureaus are saying, okay, you started out at this particular number, right? You started out at this particular number, but what you're doing is you're causing your debt to continue to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. However, on the other end, you're looking at Navy Federal. You're looking at Discover, and Discover's debt is constantly being paid down and down and down and down and down. And so I showed you that because there are two different dynamics. There are two completely different dynamics in the debt. And so if you take a loan and you say, you know what, I'm going to go get a loan and I'm going to pay that debt down, that right there overall lowers your utilization and puts you in a more dynamic position. Not only does it strengthen your credit, but it also puts you in a position where you're able to consolidate that monthly payment. You're also able to be in a position where you can now go to banks and banks will trust you more to get you approved for that business funding. And so again, it's all about your positioning. If you're somebody out there right now that's looking to go out for business funding, or perhaps you're not looking to go for business funding, but you just want a lower monthly payment, but you want to strengthen your credit report, then I would highly recommend consolidation loans. The funny thing about that is, if you guys follow me on social media, I actually just put a post out about that yesterday. And so I said, send this to your best friend. If you're an entrepreneur looking to consolidate personal credit card debt in order to qualify for business funding, here are the 6 best places to go. The first place is SoFi. The second place is Lightstream by Truist Bank. The third place is Discover, the example that I just gave you. The fourth place is Upstart. The fifth place is Upgrade. And then the very last place that I highly recommend is our credit unions. We love credit unions because one of the significant components about credit unions that a lot of people may not be aware of is that credit unions are not for-profit entities. Okay, they're not for-profit entities, and so when you're dealing with a not-for-profit entity, those entities oftentimes save you money when it comes to banking. They also have lower interest rates, right? And so unlike a Bank of America, a JP Morgan Chase, a Wells Fargo, a PNC, these banks are for-profit banks. That's why when you open up an account, they have different restrictions and stipulations. Like, in order to remain with us, you guys have to maintain a $500 balance a month or we're going to charge you a monthly maintenance fee, right? Or every month, regardless of how much you got in there, we're going to charge you $75, depending on your business account and things like that. So that's one of the things that you guys just kind of want to keep in mind. Non-profits, when you start talking about credit unions are some of the best places to go and build relationships because they have a lower barrier to entry. So again, man, answering that question, absolutely. Now, his other concern was, is this going to hurt me because it's a new account? So when you open up a new account, oftentimes, not all the time, depending on the strength and the power of your credit, there are times where your actual credit score will drop because you opened up a new account. Well, Jerron, why is that? The reason why your account will drop is because you're now in a situation where your credit age has now decreased. Your average age now decreases. And so when that age decreases, you're now in a situation where your credit score will drop a bit. But that dropping is only like a couple of points, if that, right? I mean, you do a hard inquiry on your credit report could drop anywhere between your score could drop anywhere between like 2 to 4 points. I've experienced getting new accounts and my score not really dropping at all because I had so many accounts. And so that's not really a huge barrier to worry about or consider. All right, next thing. All right, how much do inquiries affect your approval process? Incredible question. So there's a sweet spot when it comes to inquiries. You want to make sure that your inquiries per bureau are less than 3. So TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are all 3 credit bureaus that banks will pull from. Now, you want to make sure that you have access to be able to see. You can go on free sites. You can go on paid sites, right? You can go directly from Credit Karma. You can go from Experian. You can go from MyFICO and actually see how many inquiries you have per bureau. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you go to Credit Karma is not going to show you Experian. And vice versa. If you go to Experian and you do not have a paid subscription, then Experian is only going to show you Experian. But if you have a paid subscription, it'll show you all 3 bureaus. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. However, you want to keep those inquiries below 3. All right. Once you start getting to 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 9 inquiries, it can begin to affect your approval process. All right. So the inquiries are very important when you start talking about business credit cards specifically. Now, here's something else to keep in mind. That's vitally important. Okay. Certain credit products, business inquiries do not matter for certain credit products. So, for example, if somebody is trying to get a business loan, all right, you're trying to get a business loan. Underwriting on a business loan is, I would venture to say, 10 times different than somebody that's trying to go get a business credit card. Business credit card, they're going to look at your credit report. They're going to look at your trade lines. They're going to look at your limits. They're going to make sure you don't have no late payments, no derogatory marks. They're going to look at, how much has this person built a relationship with us, et cetera. So that's those are like pretty much the metrics that you're going to go through for a business credit card. However, when you start talking about a business loan, that is 10 times different because not only are they looking at those metrics, but they're also looking at your actual documented revenue. They're also considering your business tax returns for the last year or 2 years. They're also looking at your last 12 to 24 months of profit and loss statements and balance sheets. They're looking at assets. They're looking at your business plan. They're looking at how many staff members you have. What is your payroll? It's so much more extensive when you start talking about a business loan. And so with that being said, if you're somebody that comes, let me make sure I'm on D&D. All right. So if you're somebody that comes to a bank and you're trying to get a $75,000 loan and your business has been doing $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, then they're not going to turn you away because you got 5 inquiries, right? That would be super petty. And in addition to that too, you always want to look at how much reciprocity comes with banking. And so banking is about reciprocity. If I have if I have James, if I have Jessica, if I have Denzel, if I have Justin, if I have Michelle, if I have Ashley, if I have all of you guys and you all come to my banking institution and I can see that you've had a solid track record in business. Let's say your business didn't do 3, 4, 5 million. Let's say your business didn't do 600,000. But let's say your business did a consistent 80 grand for the last 2 years and you got 5 inquiries. I'm not going to turn you away. Right? Because even in the midst of that, I mentioned the reciprocity because banks make money off of loans. Clearly, they make money off of credit cards. They make money off of loans. They make money when they create deposit accounts, right? They make money because for as much money as sitting inside of a bank account, then that's as much money as they can lend out, right? They can lend out 10 times what they have sitting in a bank. And so with that being said, inquiries matter on certain products. I'll give you guys another product that inquiries do not matter on. They do not matter on auto loans. Okay. When I was selling cars, man, we get people cars with 50 inquiries. We get people cars with 70 inquiries. Automotive finance companies do not care. Banks in their finance department, they do not care about how many inquiries you have on an auto loan. Same thing with a business auto loan, right? And so, Jerron, why does that matter? I want you guys to see the strategy, the thinking behind all of it. Let's say you're in a situation and you're trying to get funding for your business. You're trying to get funding and you're considering, okay, I need some money to grow my business. Or I don't really need it, but I want to get it before I need it, right? But then I also need to buy a car next month. All right, well, boom. What would be your thinking behind that? Well, if you already know that inquiries are highly considered by, regarding credit cards, they're somewhat considered behind loans, but they ain't considered at all about cars. Well, in that situation, then I'm going to move forward and I'm going to go get me a credit card. Then I'm going to apply for a loan. After that, I'm going to go apply for the car, right? Another thing, DSCR loans, when you're talking about real estate, a DSCR loan just stands for debt service coverage ratio. This is the optimal or ideal loan that you would go with if you are investing in real estate. So if you're looking to go buy a property for your business, if you're looking to go buy a rental property, you would go get a DSCR loan. Well, guess what? DSCR loans don't care about your inquiries as well. You got to have 40 inquiries. DSCR loans care about if you have 20% down. So if you're looking to go buy a property, you have 20% down. They do not care about your inquiries. They care about 20% down, and they care about you being able to show them how you're going to make the money back. All right, when I first bought my first rental property, yes, my first. I actually bought 2, like literally within the same month, but my very first one that I purchased, my credit was in a great space, obviously, but my credit was in a great space. However, in that situation, I had a tenant that was already in the property, and then I also had 20% down, right? So that was like the main thing they was focused on, and they also focused on reserves. So another thing to keep in mind when you start talking about real estate investments is that not only do you want to have that 20%, but banks also look at your amount of reserves. Generally depending on how your credit and things are structured, they will want you to have at least 3 months worth of reserves. So for example, if you're somebody that has a $1,500 mortgage on a property, well, 3 months of reserves of that'll be $4,500. So you need to have at least $4,500. Now, depending on your credit, they could say you need to have 6 months, right? Well, 6 months would just be $9,000. Right. So just again, everything is just about underwriting. Everything is about being able to think your way through and navigate. This is why people always use this concept, man, the rich get richer. Well, why do the rich keep getting richer? The rich keep getting richer because they have the knowledge, right? You can lose everything that you have right now, but if you have the knowledge, you can get it back. Right? If you have the knowledge and you have the wherewithal, you have the capacity to think through, understanding that everything in the earth is about the knowledge. If you have the knowledge, you can win. You can be victorious. Man, I was looking at, this ain't even sidetracking, but I was doing research throughout the state of Maryland last night, right? With all of the programs and incentives and grants and loan programs and tax benefits that you have just by being a business owner in Maryland. Did you know, and I'll be doing a lot of content on this as well, but did you know that in the state of Maryland, if you have a cannabis business for medical use, for medical purposes, then there is a grant for that, right? Not in DC, not in Virginia, not in Texas, not in California, not in Florida. They could have those things there, but I'm just talking about the specificity of you having access to that in Maryland. Maryland also has a specific loan for individuals that are hiring 1, 2, 3, 4 plus employees full time, right? There's a loan, but then there's also a tax credit. And so again, the one thing that I've learned, that I continue to learn, that I continue to see, that I continue to discover, is that the tax system is really built for entrepreneurs. It's built for business owners, right? It's not built for employees. And that's not a knock on employees. I'm not bashing a job. I'm just giving you the reality. When you really look at the tax system and how the tax system is built out, it is made for individuals that are operating or running free enterprise, period. Because you have so much more leverage. You have leverage to write things off. You have leverage to save in taxes. You have leverage to control more of your dollar, opposed to when I am W-2, somebody else is controlling, like you guys are controlling my taxes. Yeah, you guys are controlling my taxes. So I don't get to control what's coming out. You guys you take it out. Versus in entrepreneurship, you get your money and you pay your taxes later, right? And so another benefit to that. So, all right, bingo, let's go. All right, next one. What else do we got? Perfect. This is an excellent one right here, man. I feel like somebody on the line will take this and run. This is a really great idea. So she said, I have a 440. I'm sorry. Jesus, Lord, a 4. She said, I have a 749 FICO on Equifax, and I need $50,000 to open up my group home and medical supply business. What should I do first? Wow, incredible question. Even better than the question, what I love about this is I love the business model. Everything is about the model. Like, there's your model. Like, a lot of times, and I'm gonna get to the question, but one of the things that I see like so often is, and one of the things that it's like one of my biggest prayers, like just for all humanity, and that's for God to give us this the discernment to understand what is a good money model, right? A lot of people are operating in a bad money model, right? Your business, like, yes, you're passionate about it, you're excited about it, it makes you happy, it gives you this euphoric feeling, but it's a bad money model. Like, it's gushing out, like it costs you way too much money to make money. It costs you way too much time to find a client. Like, it's just too much. There's certain industries like this industry, a group home, right? If you're looking at people who have been on drugs, suffering from alcohol addiction, whatever the case may be, right? These are businesses that you can get directly into, group homes where you can be state funded, right? Now, obviously, your business is now predicated on, budget cuts and things like that. However, I've rarely ever seen somebody in a situation where, or the state, put people in a situation where you got hundreds of thousands of people that are now homeless because they won't pay the budget, right? Or they won't sign off on the budget. And so this right here is a great money model. It's an excellent money model. And with that type of credit score, you can practically go anywhere in the country and get approved for funding. Ideally, in the perfect world, I would recommend moving forward with a business credit card first. I would highly recommend moving forward with a business credit card first. simply because you got a strong credit score. You got a 749, right? You practically at a 750. So you can move forward with that and you build out your stock there. Now, I don't know specifically what she wants to use the 50 grand for. Says she wants to open up the group home, but, I don't have it. She didn't send over any specificities regarding, what it is that she wants to do exactly. Is she looking to, get a down payment off that, or is she looking to, actually use that money to start the LLC or buy insurance or whatever the case may be? But I would, number one, start with a business credit card, okay? Again, because business credit cards give you the lowest point of barrier, all right? If she were to try to go get a $50,000 loan and you ain't even started the group home yet, it's almost 100% of the chance that she's going to get denied, right? On the business side, because all lending is based on risk factor. If you're coming to me for cold hard cash of 50 grand and I don't see any activity, then I'm not even confident to lend you any money, right? And so the next thing is I would, another thing that I would do is, man, a lot of times people can sleep on this, but don't forsake, my brothers and sisters, man, don't forsake your ability to go out and get personal funding. Personal funding. So I'll give you an example. A lot of times people can get so bent up or hell bent on business funding, which is great. That's what we talk about. But my whole philosophy and understanding is like, man, I want to go get what I can get. Period. I'm not going to be sitting there talking about, man, y'all ain't going to approve me for the business. Like, yeah, they're not going to approve you for 50 grand for the business, but I can show you how to go get 120 grand on the personal side. At the end of the day, who cares? The money is the money. At the end of the day, the whole goal and the whole mission is for me to go take the money and go make more money. No matter what I'm doing, if I'm in a situation where I have personal finance or personal credit or business credit, my mission is to take the money and go make more money. Man, when I first started in the whole business credit space, man, so many people, I used to run into so many people that's like, I don't want to put up my personal credit. My question is why? Right? My question is why? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be ethical regardless, and my whole mission is pay. This is my definition, one-on-one of credit. Credit 101. Let me look into the camera. Credit 101. If you don't understand nothing about TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, you don't know nothing about utilization, you don't know nothing about a credit pie, you don't know nothing about credit age, and you don't know nothing about nothing. Here's the definition that will save you forever. In order to have a superb, outstanding, immaculate credit score, pay who you say you're going to pay. That's it. That's it. Pay who you said you were going to pay. If you pay who you said you're going to pay, you ain't got to worry about no credit. And so, again, in this instance here, I want you guys to keep that in mind, because there'll be some instances where you say, man, I got the leverage and the strength right now to go business. Or, man, I got the leverage and the strength right now to go personal. At the end of the day, man, this is how I look at the thing. I'm looking at this thing in seasons, right? This is why I love to have the God's eye view with it. You got to look at you and your age. Jerron, what you mean look at me and my age? I want you to look at you and your age, and I want you to ask yourself, well, only God can answer this question, but I often ask myself, how many more summers I got left? How many more summers do I really have left? Right? And so a lot of times people are so afraid or scared to make a move as if they're not going to die soon. Like, how many summers do I have left? How many seasons do I have left? How many more runs do I really have left? At the age of 20, at the age of 30, at the age of 40, at the age of 50, at the age of 60, at the age of 70. How many more runs do I legitimately have left? Well, once you quantify those things, then you'll begin moving differently. Okay? Because you're not afraid to make a mistake. There's really no wrong or right way to do a thing outside of doing it. Like, if you are making moves and making strides, you're going to continue to learn along the way. And so, again, I just wanted to plug that because Man, so many people are like, man, I don't want to put my personal credit on it. I don't want to add my personal. I don't want. It's like, man, at the end of the day, who cares? Man, there's a strategy or a way. By the way, this is something that has been dropping in my spirit, that we're more than likely going to launch towards like the end of the year. And so maybe sometime around fall, as me and my team are preparing it. But we're going to build, we're building out an advisory section. We already have an advisory component to our business, but it's going to be a more mature advisory. I don't want to say community, but advisory circle of business owners that have been in business for at least a year or two. There'll be a income threshold or requirement, but that advisory circle will give you access to us, man, all throughout the year. We'll meet up. We're not sure if we're going to do it yet every once a month or once a quarter. But this is going to be for business owners that are making, upward of consistently upward of, $70,000 a year, 70, 80, 90,000 and upward. Because one of the things that we're seeing is that because you are in business, you're oftentimes in a space where, man, you're so focused on the product and the fulfillment and the staff and the marketing and the building and the expenses and the rent and the subscriptions that you oftentimes don't really have the time to go out and maximize all of the funding that's out there. And so, man, it's going to come out, man. We're super, super excited about it. It just kept dropping in my spirit, but specifically for business owners, man. I talk to business owners all the time that are so caught up in the hustle and bustle that they are not able to maximize, man, all of the opportunities that are out there through grants, through programs, through loans, through lines of credit and business credit cards. And so, man, that's one of the things that we're going to put in motion for business owners, man. And yeah, man, you know it's going to be excited and pumped up too, baby. But yeah, man. So again, maximizing, right? Man, right? The greatest thing that you can have in the realm of business credit, in the realm of business funding, the greatest, strongest, most powerful thing that you can have is the gift of discernment. Okay? When do I apply for this? When should I apply for that? Why should I apply for that? How should I apply for that? What do I need to apply for that? Right? Man, I was reading an article before, it's an incredible article, talking about how Jeff Bezos actually lives off of loans. Well, why does he live off of loans? He lives off of loans because you don't have to pay taxes on the loans, right? It's all about the knowledge. I'm telling you, when you have the knowledge, you become unstoppable. There's nobody or nothing that can stop a man that understands what's happening, right? This man lives off of loans. So every year he applies for a certain amount of loans. Why? Why is he? Oh my God, man! I'm not no CPA or no tax advisor, but I'm telling you, I see it. Okay, Jeff Bezos, he goes out, he applies for loans, he lives off of the loans, right? Because he doesn't have to pay taxes on the loans. And so now, as income is coming in with his business, he's not paying himself from the business. And if he is, he pays himself W-2 income, right? And so you pay yourself W-2 income and you can control that amount. I don't care if we're doing 600,000, 600 million, or 600 billion. If I am the founder or CEO or president, whatever I want to call myself, I can cut myself whatever type of check I want to cut myself and leave all of the other money in the business bank account. If I want to do a company withdrawal, I can do that. But I don't need to sit here and say I'm paid myself $3.5 million. I paid myself, $600 million. Like, everybody's strategy is different, right? But you're getting income. At the end of the day, if your expenses and your bills and everybody's taken care of, you don't need to pay yourself $35 million a year. It makes no sense, right? At that point, it's not about what you keep. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep. It's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. So this is one of the reasons why, again, I love, man, talking so much about the funding space, but then also the tax space, right? Because it's all strategy. That's it. Man, a lot of communities, everybody pressing, oh man, I'm up $1 million, I'm up 20 mil. Man, what is your tax situation like? Man, Man, what's your tax situation like? Oh, man, I'm up. I made blah, blah, blah. Man, I know what you said you made, but how much did you keep? Oh, I'm a millionaire. Man, here's a trivia question for you. Man, I get excited about this question, actually. I want to say I gave like 3 examples. Maybe 4, but I'll share it with you guys. And I want you to think about it. What is a millionaire? What is a millionaire? Is a millionaire somebody that has $1 million net worth? Or is a millionaire somebody that has $1 million in the bank account? Or is a millionaire somebody that makes $1 million net profit a year? What's a millionaire? What is a millionaire? Right? Is a millionaire somebody that has $1 million net worth? All right. For those who are mature on the line, excellent. If you perhaps are not as familiar with this, I'll explain it. Your net worth is what you're worth after all of your assets are paid off. So, for example, let's just keep the math super simple. Let's say you had 2 houses. You got 2 houses. Both of the houses are worth $1 million, but both of them have a $500,000 balance on them. All right. Both of them got $500,000 balance, but they both worth $1 million. If you sold them if you sold both of those houses, you will walk away with $500,000 on one house and $500,000 on the next house, right? That right there makes you a millionaire, or that gives you $1 million net worth, right? Gives you $1 million net worth. But then you got the other person that, has $1 million in the bank. I'm gonna give you my 4th one. You got the other person that just got the $1 million in the bank. Is that person a millionaire? I mean, again, just little things that I go through in my mind, right? You got $1 million in the bank, right? But you don't have it coming in constantly. So are you a millionaire? Next is, I'm in a situation where, let me see. Wow. We are so live right now. I ain't see y'all comments. Yeah. So the next one is, okay, you're in business and you're making $1 million a year net, right? All right. Then the very last one is, are you a millionaire just because your business is generating $1 million, but you're not keeping $1 million, right? So, man, just a little trivia that I think about, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, yeah, he's a millionaire, it's like, if that's the case, I could stretch the million, from the standpoint of real estate, right? Anybody can become a millionaire, via real estate just by buying properties and building out equity. If anybody has owned a home before 2019, prior to COVID, even if you ain't a millionaire, you got 6 figures in equity in your home. I mean, you had 6 figures in equity. You could sell that, you can invest it, so many different things that you could do. But yeah, that's just something that I oftentimes think about. All right, perfect. So next question: can you leverage personal loans to get business credit? $15,000 or $20,000 per $20,000 personal loan. Put 4 or 5 business accounts and get 0% interest cards. Okay, great question. Absolutely. So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you clarity on this. So banks operate off of what's called a bank rating score. Okay, banks operate off of what's called a bank rating score. Well, Jerron, what do you mean by bank rating score? So internally, banking institutions have a score based on how much money you had in that account for the last 90 to 120 days, right? So one of the ones that I remember off the top of my head is called a low 5. Write that down, y'all. Write that down. Low 5. When you have a low 5 means that you have at least $10,000 in your bank account. When you have at least $10,000 in your bank account, you are now considered a low 5. All right. Now, what that means is you have 10 grand in the account, and the banks will now look at you and now grant you more trust or more favor, right? Because you have $10,000. Now, obviously, the higher you go up, you're in an even stronger situation. And so you can be in a space where you got 50 grand, you got 70 grand, you got 100 grand. And ultimately what this does is it puts you in a more favorable position and situation to get approved for more, right? So for example, if somebody goes and they put 100,000, like this is one of the ways that I try to explain to people that they can actually go out and leverage their grant money, right? You can leverage grant money, you can leverage loans, you can leverage, a settlement. If somebody goes out and gets a settlement, right, you got to prove, well, not you got to prove somebody passed away or you won a settlement, a lawsuit, a car accident, whatever the case may be. You take that same amount of money and you put it up in a bank account. You put it in a bank account, let that money sit for 90 days. You're going to have a 10 times greater chance of approval than if you didn't have any money in that account. Why? Because every bank and everybody operates off of reciprocity. I give to you, you give to me. I give to you, you give to me. I give to you, you give to me. Right? And so the bank will see, well, man, this person has 10 grand. They already have 60 grand. Another thing it does is it lessens their risk factor. All right. They already got $60,000 cash. So if we give them $15,000, there's a great chance that they're going to be able to manage it. Right? And so what my guy's asking is, hey, can I go in, excuse me, and can I leverage a loan if I get it? Yeah, absolutely. So you went out and got a $25,000 loan. Well, take that loan, let it sit in the account, right? And then go apply for more business credit cards, right? That's because you're operating based on the internal banking system. Amazing. All right, perfect. All right, this is another great one. So, Jerron, I have personal credit. However, my personal credit is low, but I got 1 year in business, and I have bank statements of $6,000+ each month. Some months almost 10,000. I'm trying to get like 5,000 to 10,000. Is that an option? Definitely an option. Definitely an option. So one of the things that I tell people is that when you start, I'm sorry, my friends, let me drop something real quick. Perfect. Yeah, so when you start talking about funding, right? I always tell everybody that anybody and everybody can get approved for funding, especially if you have a business and you have revenue. The real question is, what are my terms going to be? Period. That's the real question. What are my terms legitimately going to be? Because lending is based on risk factor, if I'm in a situation and I got the opportunity to lend to somebody and they got a 580 and they making $6,000 a month, it's like, I could approve you, but do I really trust that you're going to pay me my money back? And so because I don't know if I really trust you, I will approve you, but I'm going to give you a stupid high interest rate. And I'm going to say, you got to pay me back once a week, or you got to pay me back twice a week, or you got to pay me back 3 times a week. I'm sorry. You got to pay me back once a week, or twice a month, or 3 times a month, like that, right? And so that's one of the things that you guys want to consider as well when you start talking about actually getting approved. Now, in this instance right here, I do love the fact that they're making $6,000 a month and some months $10,000. That right there is great. You can get approved through fintech business lines of credit. But again, that personal credit score should not be lower than 625. 625 is really like the sweet spot. When you start getting lower than that, it's not that you can't get approved, but again, the terms can be really crazy. and can really put you in a situation where you look at it and you say, man, this money ain't even really worth it. I might as well go out and make some more money on my own because it'll be cheaper. So that's one of the things that you guys can keep in mind when it comes to that. But another thing that's good too is being in business for a year. You don't want to take that for granted. That's a seasoning period. Right? You don't want to take the whole concept of being in business for a year for granted, because that is super strong opposed to somebody that's been in business for just a month, right? You've been in business for 2 months, right? Like, that's cool, but at the end of the day, man, you want to be in business for as long as possible prior to going in for funding. All right, perfect. All right, we're going to end on a bang, y'all. We're going to end on a bang. All right, so I have a $75,000 credit card, and I don't know exactly what to do with it. I want to buy a business, but I don't know what to do with it. A $75,000 credit card is absolutely fire. Strong, okay? $75,000 credit card. What do I do? What would I do with $75,000 on a credit card? And I want to figure out how to make some money. The first thing that I would do is I would begin investing in a certain level or certain lane of expertise like never before. Like, I would go crazy on a certain level of expertise, not even from the standpoint of teaching. Teaching is great. You can do that as well. But I would just go knee deep into an industry. That industry could be plumbing. That industry could be HVAC. That industry could be marketing. That industry could be dental. That industry could be hair care. It could be the reselling of electronics. It could be home building, home flipping, home wholesaling. It could be car sales. It could be rentals. It could be storage units. It could be franchises, restaurant franchises, storage franchises. It could be construction. It could be teaching, educating, sharing with other people how you did it, right? Like, I would go knee deep into one thing. So many times, man, people become experts or jacks of all trades, but masters of none. And because you don't have a knee-deep expertise in anything, you stretch yourself so wide and so thin that you never become masterful at anything. That $70,000 would have greater use if you just penetrate one place, penetrate one arena, one industry, and become that person, right, in that space. Again, it can be coaching and consulting, or it could not be. Right? You can be the man or the woman in the quote unquote arena by actually doing the business. Right? And that $70,000 grants you so much leverage. You got a lot of time to mess up with 70 grand, right? Depending on how you invest in it. You got a lot of time. Now, granted, I would venture to say that if somebody has a $75,000 credit card, then that ain't your only credit card. Because ain't no bank gonna just approve somebody for $75,000, right, one time. Nah, if you got 75, I'm confident you got 15 somewhere, you got 30 somewhere, and you got 16 somewhere, and you got another 50 somewhere, right? You got another 25 somewhere. So now you got this culmination of all of these business credit card. Well, this one specifically is a personal. But you got a personal credit card, you got lines of credit, you got business fund, you got all of these things, right? So I would take man at least 3 to 4 hours every day. And I would be reading, I would be studying, I would be networking, I would be talking to people, I would be building out my profile on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, and I would just be talking about that one thing, right? That one thing. People love coming to people. We are all just drawn to value as a whole. Everybody's drawn to value. There's nobody in the world that does not want to be in the arena and in the circle where there's value, right? That's what we're attracted to. And so I would take that, and then from there, I would methodically begin to walk down my execution. I would methodically walk it down. Like, okay, for the next 90 days, I'm going to read 3 to 4 hours a day, every day on this topic. Whether it's something in the Wall Street Journal, whether you bought a newsletter, you paid for a subscription, you watch YouTube videos, whatever, I would go knee deep for 3 to 4 hours every day for 90 days. From then, I would be sourcing out who I could not only collaborate with, but also who I could potentially pay to mentor me, right? Mentors begin cutting down the time frames and the time lapses and the gaps. Okay, you can try to figure it out on your own, man. I'm never gonna come and tell somebody because you try to figure out on your own you did it the wrong way. Everybody has their own path, right? But if you have that type of money and you could pay somebody a couple $1,000s, man, to help you get there faster, why not, right? At the end of the day, all we have is time. That's it. That's all we have is time. We don't have more. Like, time is it. Once you lose time, you don't have life anymore in this realm. And so that's the direction that I would go in with the $70,000 or $75,000. So, man, it is 11:04, man. I appreciate you guys. Man, thank you guys for tapping in. This live is definitely going to be saved. I see you all still live on Zoom as well as YouTube. Man, if you found any value in this, man, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hello? Man, I'm going to send it out to everybody. And, man, it's going to be posted for sure on YouTube. And, man, I will see you guys. Good Lord, something in my eyes. The devil thought he had me. There we go. All right, man. So I'm going to have it up live. And, man, I will see you guys next Tuesday, man. If you guys have any specific questions that you guys want me to touch on, feel free to send it over. You guys can send it over, man. I'm on every platform. Post it on YouTube. Post it on Facebook, Instagram. Email me something. But, man, love you guys. Have a blessed one. And, man, I'll talk to y'all soon, man.